12 months times 12. I get the idea. I didn't work any. I just did you. I gave you an 8-hour day.
Always add one.
When you're subtracting a date from a date, always add one day. That's called the inclusive date. Make sense? So we worked at Burger King for one day. Even though on paper it says you didn't work there at all. I'm describing this because we're going to build upon this idea. And when you're doing constructive service credit on that 1431, you're going to have to be able to distinguish periods of employment, prior service dates, those types of things. And so I know there's handy calculators on the internet that do it for you, but if the internet's down, if the ASA ain't working, pull out the, or if you're at a appointment, pull out the scratch pad and you can start doing it yourself. All right? Date. When did you come in the Air Force?
April 17th, 2001.
2001, April 17th, you said?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to determine how long he's been in the Air Force. We always start with the days, right? How do you subtract 17 from 12? Can't. So we're going to rob from Peter to pay Paul. So we know we've got 30 days in every month. And for the purposes of doing this, it's always 30 days. It's not 31, it's not 28 on certain, it's always 30. That's doctrinal. It's the DOD that says that. So 30 days. So we're going to take 30 days from this column, and that's going to reduce that to 11 months. Then we're going to add it over here, 42. Now we can do some math. 12 minus 7 is 5.
You lost me. Oh, you added the 30 days to the 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're taking a month.
Subtracted the
Yep.
30 days from, yeah.
So 7 from 12 is 5. So we got to reduce this to 3. 3 minus 1, 25 days.
This is Common Core.
We still have one. Like 11 months.
Slow down, Turbo.
11 minus 4, 7 months. And then what do?
Add one.
Add 1. So old Sean here. See, Ann.
So close, sir.
I got you by 7 days. 7 days? 7 days.
So it's, so breaking it down, it's not difficult. You just have to follow this certain cadence, right? Days, months, years. In the instance where, let's say these two were swapped and you had 4 months and 12 months down here, where do you take the
year.
who do you
Convert 1
rob
year.
then?
The year.
You got to go get 12 months from this, right? So does that make sense?
You better
Yes.
run
Do I
through
have to
it.
write that out?
You better run through it.
All right, hey.
I think the whole thing will hurt on.
So,
Let's do yours.
you wanna do me?
This is going to be a big number.
1988.
1988.
I was in 4th grade.
I'm going to skip a step now. 12 minus 3 is what?
9.
Let's say 10. We already did the inclusive date, right?
Oh, no.
Oh, you lost everybody.
Add your 1 day. Just always
You're
add your
good.
1 day.
You're good. Just go with it.
8 minus 6 is 2. 11 minus 9 is 2. That's me.
Do one where you need to pull the year though,
Okay.
is what they want.
He's just bragging about himself.
1999.
12 minus 12 is what?
One.
One.
4 minus 12, can't do it. So we're gonna convert this to 2016, take 12 months out of that year and add it to this. Make it 16 months. Now we can do 16 minus 6 minus 2, and then you drop the 1. Make sense? So we got the basic
Isn't that easy when
concepts
you're
of
actually doing it?
subtracting dates from dates.
So when you take the year off, you don't add the 16 to the 4?
You do, yeah, 12 plus 4 is 16.
Yeah, that's-
12 plus 4.
Told you.
Ohio education.
Okay,
He's from Cleveland.
That's that Ohio education system for you.
He's a Browns fan.
you'll have instances where you've got a nurse that has worked several jobs, full-time. I'm gonna give you a technique to be able to calculate it in 2 ways. I just showed you one way. Let's say that they worked at this hospital from 2004 to 17, you know that this is 12 years. And and say they worked at another place for 3 years. Instead of doing it separately, you can do it collectively, and I'll show you how to do that.
Ooh.
Let's make up some dates. They started, and I'm just making up dates, 2001, 10/01 to 2004, 12/12. They worked at this hospital. And then they took time off, started working again in 2006, 04, 02, and they worked there until 2008, 12, 03. Okay, so there you got 2 separate periods of employment. Tracking? Licensed, full-time, so we're gonna have to count that, right? Let's figure out how to do it together. Blow your mind here. 1 plus 2 is what?
3.
4.
3. 0 plus 0. What's 10 plus 4?
14.
What's 1 plus 6? 0, 0. 2 plus 2?
4.
Okay,
Lord.
all right. Let's do the same thing over here. 15,
Never heard of that year.
24, 12, carry the 1, 4,012. Okay? Still tracking.
Yep.
Now,
We see
we're
the
gonna,
breakdown.
we're gonna subtract the start date, total start date, from the total end date.
I got you.
15 minus 3 is 12. There's 2
Add 2
days.
days.
So you're gonna add 2 inclusive days. Okay? Because remember, every time you subtract a date from a date, you gotta add 1. We did it twice. 15 minus 3 is 12. Add 2, 14. 24 minus 14, 10. 12 minus 7, 5 years. So, from these 2 jobs, she or he worked 5 years, 10 months, and 14 days. Makes sense? All right.
I think what I'm hearing is that I should start sending all my CVs and 1431s to the chief. Just let.
Used to be Jack Burns.
Well,
Jack Burns. Oh my God.
based on this, I ain't gonna be around long.
Can you show the?
So, you've got, and again, I don't wanna pick on nurses, but they've got resumes and CVs that are extensive in some cases. So you'll have various places of employment. All right? So you're gonna need to know how to do this. You can do it separately, or you can do it together. I won't say I prefer one or the other, but it is just so your knowledge, you know how to do it now.
So So we do half credit? We don't
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna
Talk
ask
about
you,
that.
that, about half credit, you
All
wanna
right,
do
we'll
half
talk about
credit,
that.
yeah.
So this is just real time. They showed up, we're not talking anything other than they showed up for work, assuming it's all full-time, for 5 years, 10 months, and 14 days.
So in this, I mean, if it's in this case where it's 5 years, you would just half it since it's not that 6 year point.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was above it,
So-
you minus the 6.
But let's say that was military service
Mm.
in the Corps that they're coming in as. Okay? It would be day for day. Questions?
I have something.
Can you-
Yep.
Real quick.
So that day, if it's work experience, okay, and you get that, and you're supposed to half it, don't put that on base pay. Base pay is 0 for work experience. There is none, okay? Grade credit, they get half. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because it's different when you're talking about
Oh,
prior
yeah.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be on both of them, but work experience, well, you gotta.
We're done. Yeah, so just basic, subtracting a date from a date. So, you've got a doctor that comes in to the office, family medicine. What do we know right off the bat?
3-year residency.
3 years
4 years
residency,
medical
4 years med school. So already they're at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Before you even meet, before you even sit down, you know that they're at 7. Then you start asking questions. How long have you worked at your clinic? Worked there for 4 years. Okay. We're at
Plus 2, 9.
9 now. Okay, so 9 years. Any military experience? No. All right. Then I know exactly where you're coming in. Major. Okay? Because major is, what does it say?
8 years.
4 to 10.
Or
Yeah, it's a 10.
It's
Yeah,
10, so they're shy.
Okay.
Shy.
So they're 2 years from major. So you're coming in as captain, but then you can go ahead and say, and in 2 years, this is what you'll be paid. And you can explain it. Let's say that they had,
What color is
maybe,
that?
this is red. Did I not print out a, I'm looking for I'm looking for one that's got, 16 current.
I don't think you printed it out.
4 would be divided by 2.
No, it's.
Because this is just a reserve.
Chief, you just printed the reserve one.
Okay.
Education, not for education.
No, the work experience.
Oh,
Yeah, so that'll give them 9.
I'm gonna pull it up. Oh, yes.
So, 16 years to be lieutenant colonel, 10 years to be a major, and we're talking active duty. Because that's when they're getting paid, right? So active duty, 10 years. So if a guy comes in and says, I've got, 9 years of credit, you know in your mind what rank they're gonna be, and you know what you're scrolling them as, et cetera. Any questions on that? And I didn't print out the active duty, but if you want to make a note on the red form, for major, active duty, 10 years.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
For lieutenant colonel, 16.
Was active duty
Step ahead.
starting to be in the 2005 as well?
It is in 2005.
Sound was a step ahead. I
So,
wrote her down. Feels
in,
nice.
in this situation, this is where you guys have to really be in tune with what that regulation says, because
They're
at this
year out.
point, you're talking to a physician, and he's saying that, and you know that they've got 9 years of credit. This is where you ask them, okay, when do you wanna go on active duty? And if that dude's like, yeah, I need to get out of here, okay, cool, well, let me let you know that if we did get you in, at the end of the fiscal year, there's a possibility I can bring you in as a major, right? But if that dude needs to get out of here, fine, whatever, okay?
Yeah.
But you gotta be able to show the applicant, and sometimes you can gain a lot of credit from these guys and get them to commit on how active lot showing that you're looking out for their career. Hey, look, let's put you in, the August, cop class or the July cop class, because that's gonna put you up over 10 years, and I can bring you in a major, and here's how much extra money you're gonna be making. Now you got the buy-in from that guy. He knows that you're looking out for his best interest, so.
There was we put in a prior service physician And it was a situation where, maybe he got out as a captain or a major, but the bottom line is, he had gotten out, gotten some work experience, and he was right there on the cusp of 16 years. And so, it was a direct duty. He'd already been to cot years ago. And so he's like, I'm ready to come in. And I'm doing the calculations. I said, your commission date will be August 3rd. You know, why not? I said, because that's gonna give us a 2-day window after. No shit, you got 16 years. I said, I'm not gonna play games and commission you on 15 years and 364 days. We're gonna give you a day of cushion, and that way you're commissioned as a lieutenant colonel, you come in as a lieutenant colonel. So.
That means he has to keep working too.
Yep.
So he can't be like, oh, I'm gonna take a 6-month sabbatical. Nope.
No, and that's a good
And make
point.
sure they
You gotta
know
Make
that.
sure you advise them of everything that they've gotta fulfill, because, yeah, that can screw it all up right there.
So date from date. Prior service. So we've established that there's 4 criteria on that resume that you're looking for. You're looking for education, training, full employment, and prior service. Those 4 things. The rest of it is of no consequence to you. So that 3-page resume, CV they sent you, get a highlighter and start just highlighting what you need to determine. A lot of times it's real simple, but sometimes, with internships and a transition year and those things, those count. It needs to be documented. So, with regard to prior service, if you pull out your orange 1431 guide, I built this in 2013, this spreadsheet, and the folks that were supposed to be here today to brief this, I coordinated with each one of those offices, and we made sure everything was legit and on the up and up. So every situation that you're going to run across is identified. Complete a bachelor's degree, you're getting none grade credit, none for basic pay. Master's degree, we talked about, the master's degree. We talked about residency training, fellowship training. Let's start talking about the prior service. Previous enlisted active duty service. You're gonna give them 0 grade credit because they weren't an officer back then. But for basic pay, if you look on your 1431, you've got 3 columns: grade, basic, and special pay. Grade credit would be 0 for a senior airman. Basic pay would be however long they were in the Air Force and however long they were in the IR, right? The fact that you were obligated to serve Uncle Sam is not going to be lost when they come back in. So remember that. If the duty form 4 and the discharge, those dates are inclusive, you're going to put it on there. This is why you have on the pay chart, I wish I had the pay scale. This is why you would have 05 with less than 2 years. How does that happen? We all would wonder that. How does that happen? Because of these scenarios. The guy never served a day in his life, but he's an 05. So 05 with less than 2 years. And then you have the situations where they're in 03 with 18 years in. And so basic pay is that linear, that linear row across the top. That's where you're going to try to calculate, pinpoint where that the exact dollar amount they're gonna get for FY19 or whatnot. So, basic pay is any time they're in uniform, day for day. DFAS doesn't understand half days in uniform, okay? Make sense? Enlisted active duty service, day for day, basic pay. What about the reserves? Day for day. What about the IR? Day for day. What about warrant offs? Day for day. You get my point. You're gonna run across maybe a ghost force called the ISLR, ISLRS. It's a shadow government. I don't know what it is. It is so shadowy that the
Doesn't
IR doesn't even recognize them. So, this has came up once or twice, and but it's you can Google it. It's called ISLRS. They don't give you credit for shit. Zero, nothing. The only thing I can relate it to is it's in case of nuclear emergency, call these guys. So you'll probably never run into it. ISLRS, but you don't get any credit for grade or day or basic. Let's talk about ROTC. Folks went into ROTC. We discussed this earlier. Academy, ROTC. They don't get anything. It's their bachelor's program, so they're not getting grade credit nor basic pay credit. Now we start getting in more in line with what we typically talk about. Commissioned active duty service in the same corps. Same corps, day for day. And day for day for basic pay. So grade and basic are the same. If it's a different corps, it's half credit, grade credit, but again, day for day. Default answer is going to be day for day on the basic pay if they've been in uniform. Any questions so far? If you're in the reserves, day for day, same corps. If you're reserves in a different corps, half credit. IR, same corps, day for day. IR, different corps, half credit. Yes, sir. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do a test.
Okay.
So you have a physician, prior service, that did HPSB. Got out for, let's say,
Hold on, can I write this down?
yep.
All right, so what was the deal?
So you got a physician,
Okay,
prior
so-
service, did HPSB with the Army.
So are we doing his full math right now?
Yep,
All right, so you said he was a physician.
yep.
What type of physician?
Family med.
All right.
Did HPSB with the Army.
Sure.
Has been separated for 6 years.
How long was he in the Army?
Whatever, let's make up whatever.
He was in the Army for 2 years?
Well,
That's
he's
a good
never been as
payback.
good as payback. So let's say he was in the Army for 6 years. And then he's been separated and working for a civilian.
What about
hospital.
IR?
So you'd have to do, what, 2
2
years?
years.
on that?
Yeah.
All right,
Hopefully we just-
and you said how long has he been working?
He's been working for 6 years outside the Army,
All right, full-time,
full time,
as a doctor,
as a doctor.
6 years, that was half
Great.
credit, 6 years, makes sense?
Be 1 year because the IRR.
Because you can't double up the IRR, right?
Oh.
No, that
Oh,
would
I guess we're sending our CVs in
would've figured
1431s
that
to
out
start
later.
pits.
What's that?
No.
I guess we're sending you the CVs in 1431s.
The dates still have to be on there,
Yes.
but you just have to be able to deconflict.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do that is to draw it out visually, okay? I haven't gotten into that point. So yes, if you want to do this,
We'll just draw it out,
Simple.
so.
and if that's all he's got, then
Can I ask a question about that real quick?
yeah,
The work experience, since you're only getting 1 year of it, or count 2 years of the 6 years, is the Is it half from when they started, even though it's not counting for IRR status, or would it start after IRR status ends, and then
That's a good point.
half the six
It
after?
starts after, because
Okay.
the regulation says commissioned commissioned service counts first. So
So-
you do
So
that
he does.
first.
So
2
if he
years.
worked 12 years,
Mhm.
the first 4 would not count because his IR status. Then the next 6 would be halved. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
So
Just
you
want to make
actually
sure.
have 2 years there.
This guy just is made up. This is this guy. 7, 13, 15, 16 years.
17.
Colonel.
He's trying to throw some at you.
Lieutenant Colonel.
All right. We're tracking so far.
Yes, sir.
These are the easy scenarios.
I got one. If you can work it.
Okay.
Commission, well, I'm talking to him right now. This is the tough one.
Trying to get his foot through there.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm gonna get this productive here, right?
He commissioned August 17th of 2007
2007, August.
in the guard.
What day?
17.
17.
Same core?
Now he went to a PA program. He got his PA master's and became a PA officer.
Mhm.
1 January 2012. So that would be
All-
half credit and then full credit, correct?
He went in the guard. Has he been in the guard the whole time?
Yes.
Okay, then it's easy.
But he went active duty for the school and then.
Yep.
But he would get
Day
half
for
credit
day,
up
you can't
until-
get more than day for day. So, I get where you're going, and thank you for bringing it up. When a guard person gets deployed, it means they had to come into work. It doesn't mean, you still can't give them more than day for day. So,
But-
even the guys that come in just on the weekend,
So the day for day.
it's still day for day.
But
Because they're obligated. They're committed to the guard, whether they work or not, just like the IR. If they took an oath, or if they signed their DD Form 4 and puts them in the guard, and for the next 20 years, they don't do a damn thing other than 1 weekend a month.
Kind of like we
Still
don't.
give them the 20 years.
Like,
But
we don't
it's not
subtract
the-
like paternity or maternity leave from like somebody.
But it's not the same core, because he
Yeah,
said he
half
got his
credit.
education during
Yep.
to be a PA.
But again, you can't, they were still in the guard.
Yeah, as enlisted, so it'd be day for day, basic pay credit.
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
So
He
they-
commissioned, he said, on that date. So he was an officer, just not a
Medical corps
PA. So that
officer.
should be half credit
Mhm.
up until he got his degree.
for grade
We're
credit.
talking
it's half.
grade. Talking grade credit.
Basic pay
Yeah.
is day for day. Though.
Yeah, basic pay is day for day,
Yeah.
but so here's a question.
So,
What-
hold on. So, let's walk through this. What are you confused about?
I guess I don't have all the information.
Okay.
So on this scenario,
Mhm.
would it be half credit up until he started school, day one of school, stop giving him credit and give him the greater credit for his degree?
Are we talking basic pay? Because there's two different things. Basic
talking-
pay and grade.
Grade.
I'm talking
Great.
He wants to know.
Grade
They were
credit.
talking only grade
Okay.
Credit is half.
So was he commissioned at all in the guard?
Yes, that was his
Okay.
commission date.
And what was the core?
It wasn't PA.
It wasn't PA. So half credit for all the time that he was in the guard as not a PA. All right.
Until he got his.
Okay.
Well, no. Until you start his
Until
degree.
he started his degree.
Because you can't get credit for the degree time and also experience time. So the experience time would stop right when he started his degree.
Because
Yeah.
the degree gives him more credit.
Yeah.
Yep. Because remember, a master's degree it's a 2-year program. You're going to get the full 24 months credit. So that's why, if an MSC officer comes in with a master's degree that's recognized, they come in as a first lieutenant. Same scenario. So it's the full 24 months that are awarded to that individual. Prior to that, if it's a different corps, then you give them half credit for the time that they were in the guard, right?
But you can't double up and give him the 2 years for his degree,
You do.
correct?
No.
You can't double up.
if he started his degrees, just say 2009, 01, 01, you would stop that half credit on the day prior to that, and you give him the 24 months for his schooling, full credit for that, and then you'd start up for the guard time that he continue on for full credit or for day to day.
Here's what it looks like visually, and I still do this whenever folks will send me 1431. I still do this. I plot it out visually so I can see what's going on, and it always helps out. In this instance, the individual graduated from med school in, let's say 2000. And you have to be specific on these things. May 30th. May 30th, 2000, they graduated. That's the first time we can start doing anything with regard to their grade credit, okay? They started a residency program. Residency programs usually start July 1st. July 1st. So July 1st, they started a residency program. It was 3 years long, June 30th, 2003. Okay, so they're doing their residency. They decided to moonlight during the residency. So they're working, let's say they're working 40 hours a week in their moonlighting, August 1st, 2000, and then throughout this time, they finished the residency. They still held their job until 2004. What do we count?
1 year.
Do we count this residency and this employment?
No.
No.
One is
When do
not
we stop?
licensed.
You would start the
June 30th.
experience on July 1st, 2003.
At this point is when we can start
Give him
recognizing this work experience.
Mhm.
Okay? Does that make sense?
If he's board certified, right?
Shut up.
He finished his set three at first try.
Got it? So this was residency. This was moonlighting full-time. And the premise is you can't count things twice. And you can explain it to them, look, I'm sorry, you can't get 2 days out of 1 day. We're giving you day for day for residency. You can't get any better than that. And as soon as you graduated from residency, that's when this picked up. And so August of 2004 minus July of 2003, that's 1 day, 1 month, and 1 year. So 1 day, 1 month, and 1 year, we're going to recognize. We're going to give you half credit for the first 6 years. You don't have 6 years. So to divide that 1 year and 1 month and 1 day of experience into two, if you divide it by half, real easy to do. This is our years column, right? So what's 1/2 of
6 months.
Okay, 6 months. So I'm going to do 6 months here. What's 1/2 of 1 month?
15 days.
15 days. Okay, what's half of one?
It's going to be one.
We don't recognize halves, right? So 1 day. So we're going to give you 6 months and 16 days. Make sense? And that's how you can visually interpret their career. If you've got, part-time work from here to here, and then for demonstration purposes, we'll say part-time is 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another part-time job here. And then we had a full-time job here. And then part-time job here. You'll see it. What do you count and what do you not?
No, well, no.
You can start it at the
The two
point
part-
of their 2 part-time jobs.
If
and
it
then
equals
end it.
40.
You gotta
Yeah.
start right here.
Yeah.
And then end it at their full-time.
Okay, so we're going full, okay.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, we'll go full
Yeah,
there,
we're
yeah,
good.
we're full there.
Yeah.
Hey. And then we got to stop it right there.
Just as long as it equals 40 plus hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
40 hours it is.
Yeah.
So in this situation on 1431, you would say, you know, August 1st, 99, and the next date would be August 5th, 2004. And you just, all of that's inclusive. You can count periods of less than 30 days as continuous employment, right? If it's more than 31 days of unemployment, you gotta start splicing it up.
That's a good sales right there, too. You can just say, you don't wanna work that much.
You take 3.5 weeks of leave every couple months.
So that is grade credit. Give me scenarios.
So something that we just had not too long ago, and I think I've already talked to you guys about it, was we had a nurse in the guard, and then she got out. It was either a nurse or a PA, or I can't remember. But anyway, she got out, and she was only out for like 8 months or something like that. And so basically, AFPC was saying, okay, even though she got out or whatever, you know, she can come back in and she can still come in as this rank, but you can also give her the credit in between the two as long as she comes in before that year that she's been out. So that was a confusing, and that's one of them things that's buried in there and this and that.
Yep,
So when
less
you
than
guys,
a year.
yeah, so when you guys have one of those situations, make sure you ask the question. If it looks a little bit off from what you absolutely know or you can find in the reg, let's ask the question, because that person, we almost brought them in at a lower grade than what they were supposed to be, so.
MSC officer in the guard. This is their entire guard career in the MSC. They want to come in as a nurse. What do we do? How do we recognize that MSC service?
Half credit.
And grade. Half credit, right? Because they're not a nurse. MSC. Half credit. While they're an MSC officer, they got their MSN. What do you do?
Give him credit for that.
You give
myself.
him
Half credit
24
until they
months?
started and half credit after, and 24 months
Yep.
for the MSN.
Yep.
So this is the half credit mark. They're getting half credit for that. They're getting half credit for here. And then MSM is full. It's 24 months, day for day, 24 months.
Cash twister.
Yep.
But during that time, while they're getting their MSN, they still get the time grade, though, right?
Pay.
Pay grade.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Basic pay has nothing to do with education.
I just want to make sure.
That's full start to stop.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Here's another scenario. What if it took them 5 years to get that MSN?
Still gets 24 months.
Still 24 months.
They don't ask
Right?
me for this.
And so, how do I calculate that?
'Cause we're giving them
Because
time
they took semesters off. They took on the transcript. If it says 1 August 2004, then you stop giving credit on 31 July 2002. Make sense? You stop it, and then you start giving them day for day until they graduate. And then you pick up on the next day after graduation, you continue on with the half credit.
So if it did take that person 5 years to get his MSN, we would only take just 24 months off of his MSC time and then give him half credit for the other time. You see what I'm saying? He'll get just that 2 year. We won't take away the 5 years from his MSC time. We only take 2 years.
Correct.
From it.
'Cause we're not giving him credit for the time he spent getting
No,
his MSN.
no.
We're just giving him credit for the degree.
Yeah.
Correct.
Regardless
It's just
of.
making sure you're not doubling up.
Trade
Yeah.
1 year for 2 years.
So if they're only getting 24 months, you just gotta take 24 months of that half credit out.
just so you're not doubling up.
Yeah, we're talking just grade credit. Now, basic pay credit, again, completely different column. You're gonna give them day for day this whole time. Because again, they were in uniform this whole time. So, grade credit's one thing, basic pay is another.
So, as you guys can see, it's really frustrating when we get, scroll requests and stuff like that where, we look in there and 1431's not even uploaded. Or a social security card's not even uploaded because we know for a fact you guys are not looking at this stuff. And look at how many situations have completely blown everybody's mind today just by seeing the different types of stuff that has to go in there. You guys have to review this stuff. If anything, just to recognize that, hey, red flag, this is something weird and we gotta double check on this, you know what I mean? So make sure you guys are looking through this stuff we've gotta stop these BCMRs and all this other stuff that's going on. It's getting out of control, so. And now, shoot, I think the latest thing is that they're not gonna allow us to do BCMRs anymore. So now your applicant's just stuck with it and that's bad.
So, in review, we've covered the 4 items that you're looking for on a CV, which are education, training,
work experience, prior service.
and prior service. Those are the only 4 things you care about. And then on the 1431, we've got to determine what their rank is, which is the grade column, then what their basically seniority pay is gonna be. Because that's what the basic pay credit column is, it should be renamed, seniority pay, okay? So those 2, what rank am I coming in as? And how rich of a colonel am I gonna be? And so, if you're reminded of those 2 facts, you'll be okay. That 3rd column is pretty much obsolete now, so you don't have to worry about determining special pay credit because there's no variable, there's no multi-year incentive pay. So that's a good thing. That's why they need to redo that form. So, education, training, work experience, and prior service. What their rank is, what the seniority is going to be, and then plotting it out visually so you can see where there's going to be overlap. That's your biggest concern when it comes to figuring this out. So again, even the experts will visually plot it out to see where there's some overlap or where they're falling short as far as work experience. Because again, there were several places where they were working 2 part-time jobs, quit one, and there was a gap between full employment. Well, you can't count that if it's not 40 hours. Does it make it a little bit easier to understand looking at it now? You know how to do the manual math. So when you're this weekend, have fun, with kids. Just go through and practice that. But it's not something that you can't grasp. It takes time. As you can see, there's many a slip twixt the cup and the lip. So there's the failure rate on this is all based on your concentration, plotting it out, seeing where the facts lie. Any questions on it? I bid you.